You know, it's kind of interesting, Richard, you and I were talking during the break here, that there's a different set of rules here, right, for us versus countries we normally talk about being part of a coalition.
Yeah, what's so interesting, Neil, is that, you know, on terrorism, the president is just saying, we are not going to act until others act first. But on climate change, she's totally willing to say, you know what, we're going to go, and even though you're not doing anything, we're going to spend all the money and we're going to show you the way. On climate change, we're willing to act and go it alone, but when it comes to terrorism, and clearly what Samantha Powers told us is that this threat from ISIS is such a threat that we don't need the UN. She said, we don't need your resolution.
We don't need your stinking resolution. So, Michelle, I'm going to try to give the benefit of the doubt here to the administration, say, well, maybe they're hoping they can shame the likes of India and China to join this great global cause. What do you think?
This is just a political event. It's theater. It's an opportunity to go get some great photos, make a speech, but nothing is actually going to get done at this climate summit. How can anything get done when China's not at the table, India's not at the table? They're the #1 and #3 polluters in the entire world. There's nothing that's going to get done if they're not there to negotiate and talk. The president and prime minister said that they're too busy. They couldn't fit it into their schedule. So, I mean, it just seems like all theater.
You know, Richard, Richard Branson on my Fox Business show, which is tonight at 8 p.m. If you don't get FPN, you should demand it. But enough about me. Back to me and what I was raising. He was saying, you know, Neil, I agree on all these points you raise, but we have to start. It's a start. It's getting other countries. So you're saying what? We're already doing that.
Yeah, of course we're doing it. We're doing a great job here in the United States. The problem is that these other countries are really eager to sign on to this global pact that the UN is pushing because they want the money. It's going to be a global tax.
Who's going to get the money?
Well, we're going to pay, and a whole bunch of other countries that can't feed their people are going to actually get turbines, or they're going to get the money in a block grant, and they're going to say, I don't want the turbine. I need to feed my people. So I don't know how a classic liberal or a European liberal can really look at a poor country and say, you know, you're going to take this climate change program because we think it's the right thing to do when you can't feed or house your people.
But you've been raising that when you were with a lot of the stars, the Leonardo DiCaprios and the rest, Michelle. Do they connect with this? Do they see this, or they just ignore this?
Well, they live in a bubble where they think that this is the largest issue. This affects them, they think, and it affects every single American. But if you look at the polls, that's just not the case. If you look at a recent Gallup poll, only 24% of Americans say that this is a serious issue that needs to be tackled, and they feel like it's a priority. This to them isn't a priority. The priority is the economy, immigration. But when you live in this liberal bubble, you think that this is the biggest thing in the world, and that just is not the case for most Americans.
We shall see, guys. I want to thank you both. In the meantime...